When you chose to engage with these words, it was by no mere chance. By God's will, you were guided here. The teachings of the Bible remind us that God, in His infinite love, disciplines those He cherishes. The moments of correction and the figures of accountability in your life signify God's endeavor to mold and refine you. Visualize the vast landscapes that lay ahead of you, full of promises and blessings. But for you to venture into those territories, certain behaviors and patterns must be rectified. It's not a punishment, but rather an elevation. When you find yourself wading through challenging phases of life, remember that God might be unearthing and purifying certain parts of you. This refinement is essential to ascend and embrace the next phase He has planned for you. However, evading these challenges or circumventing accountability isn't a solution. Recall the tale of David. When the prophet came with God's message and David chose to turn away, he might have physically escaped, but spiritually, no. Just as shadows will always follow, God's pursuit for your betterment remains unwavering, regardless of how far you run or where you seek refuge. If you shirk from accepting God's corrections at first, He will, in His wisdom, find a way to humble you, preparing your heart to be receptive. Many desire the boundless love, divine favor, honor, and countless blessings that come from God. Yet, they hesitate when it's time to accept His corrections. By merely shifting your surroundings or immersing yourself among those unaware of your truths, you might feel hidden. However, remember, while humans might be easy to deceive, God's all-seeing eyes aren't. Regardless of how swift or clever you believe your escape to be, His wisdom transcends it all. Confronting our flaws and fears is akin to facing an immense giant. We frequently talk about David defeating Goliath, encouraging others to face their biggest challenges. But sometimes, the real challenge is inside us. It can be old beliefs, habits, or unspoken fears. Facing this inner struggle can be even harder than any outside obstacle. But overcoming it is the key to true freedom. So the next time a voice, whether it be of a man, a woman, or directly from God, echoes a truth that stirs discomfort within you, resist the urge to turn away. If you feel a surge of defensiveness, remember the profound wisdom of the Bible, which states that rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. This isn't just a statement, it's cautionary advice. Just as witchcraft clouds judgment and strays you from the divine path, rebelling against God's counsel only impedes your spiritual progress. Embrace God's wisdom, however challenging it might seem, and let it shape and prepare you for the blessings He has in store. Remember, His guidance is not merely for your present, but for a future filled with grace and purpose. In our quest to connect with God, we often forget the clear messages laid out before us. The Bible beckons us to let God's wisdom mold our minds, to see with the eyes of the heart, and to hear with ears attuned to truth. Yet in our earthly existence, we sometimes falter. We turn away, seeking our own paths, chasing our own tales of desires, and rebelling against that very guidance meant to steer us right. Take, for example, the warning against witchcraft. Why witchcraft? Because it symbolizes the human inclination to manipulate, to enchant, and to sway, not with honesty, but with cunning. When God seeks to guide us, refine our behavior, and keep us on the righteous path, we resist. Instead of embracing His divine correction, we challenge His will, only to gravitate towards voices that echo our own. We become prey to our own itching ears, yearning to hear what pleases us, not what's true or what's best. Imagine a shepherd guiding his flock. Among them, a few rebellious sheep stray away, lured by the illusion of greener pastures elsewhere. They ignore the shepherd's calls, for they don't wish to hear them. Similarly, I too was that straying sheep once. Despite the wise words of the holy men sent to lead me, I chose my own course. Why? Because it seemed easier, more tempting. I didn't want the weight of sacrifice, nor did I seek the true path of enlightenment. I, instead, hunted for validations of my actions, my choices, even if they were misguided. Today's world offers ample platforms for such validations. Consider social media platforms like Facebook. Many among us project only half-truths there, curating images and stories that elicit admiration, sympathy, or support. They revel in the likes and comments, thinking it's a testament to the righteousness of their ways. But aren't they simply seeking validation, not reflection? The danger is that, in masking reality, one becomes entrapped in their own web of deceit. It's not mere validation, but a dangerous affirmation that pushes one further down the rabbit hole of delusion. Like a puppet to its puppeteer, the devil's strings pull them deeper into the abyss. It's a perilous path, one that may seem righteous at first, but its destination is destruction. I've witnessed this over the years. People flock to you, respecting your guidance, hanging on to every word you utter. But the moment you voice truths they're not ready to face, or opinions they disagree with, they recoil. They abandon the sanctuary of faith, seeking another that might echo their sentiments. But this transient nature is an indicator of deeper spiritual disturbances. The essence of this message is not condemnation, but reflection. Let's not be swayed by temporary validations or the lure of easier paths. Instead, let's imbue our spirits with God's wisdom, embrace corrections, and strive for enlightenment. For in true surrender and understanding lies the path of salvation. Think about it. God has given us guidelines, a roadmap to follow. But there are those who wish to take shortcuts. They're the ones who yearn for His blessings, but shun the responsibility that comes with it. Instead of seeking God's wisdom, they try to customize their faith, picking and choosing what suits them best. They crave the limelight, dreaming of being lauded and admired on social media. They long for the fame, the adulation, without undergoing the transformation God demands. Many may profess their commitment to faith verbally, but the essence of true devotion lies deep within the heart. It's not a fleeting feeling or a momentary declaration. Imagine a soldier in basic training. Not everyone passes the test. The commitment to God's word is similar. If it's just a word on the lips, but not a conviction in the heart, it'll be revealed. Real faith is fiery, demanding sacrifice, discipline, and dedication. It's not about finding the easiest route or looking for loopholes. But what happens when this reality begins to weigh heavily on some? Instead of turning inward, reflecting and recognizing the areas they fall short in, they turn defiant. They feel stifled by the discipline, the accountability, and the rigors of true faith. Rather than admitting their flaws and seeking to grow, they flee. They search for places that let them indulge, that offer them the illusion of freedom. And this is akin to witchcraft. For rebellion against God's ordained path is delusion at its peak. And then, as if this rebellion isn't enough, they don't walk this path alone. They coax, persuade, and ensnare others into joining them. The Bible warns us of such individuals. Acts chapter 20 verses 28 to 30 speaks of these grievous wolves who, after the shepherd departs, enter the fold, intent on scattering and destroying. They're not outsiders, but arise from within, speaking twisted truths, spreading slander and gossip, attempting to draw believers away. This is a wolf in God's eyes, a being that infiltrates the community, intent on dividing and conquering, spreading perverse narratives. Such individuals don't just jeopardize their spiritual well-being, but put the entire flock at risk. God's love is profound, encompassing, and unconditional. But the journey of faith isn't about seeking shortcuts or bending the rules. It's about heartfelt commitment, personal growth, and deep-rooted belief. Let's not be deceived by the allure of easy paths or the whispers of wolves. Instead, let's stand firm, seeking God's truth and supporting one another in this lifelong journey. Follow me, walk beside me in this journey of faith. There's a path you tread where you try to shepherd others. But remember, by biblical standards, you might unknowingly be playing the wolf, trying to sway the flock. This is precisely why I always emphasize on seeking personal knowledge and understanding of the Bible. Do not blindly lean on others' interpretations. Christianity is vast, filled with various beliefs and practices. Sometimes, amidst all the voices, the true essence gets blurred. My primary reason for addressing you today is to assure those amongst us who are weary and disheartened. Do not falter when life's tempests roar. When trials string and storms unsettle, it's often a sign that God is refining you, bringing to light what needs reflection and change. Frustrations, confrontations, rebukes, they're not merely life's random occurrences, they're divine interventions. God engineers them for our betterment. For remember, all things conspire for the good of those who are chosen by Him. When you're chided, corrected, or even rebuked, embrace it with gratitude. In those moments of reprimand, realize God's enduring love for you. It signifies that you are His beloved child, not an abandoned one. Recollect this: every time you dodge responsibility, it doesn't vanish. It's akin to gazing at your reflection in the mirror, acknowledging it, yet walking away pretending you saw nothing. You may hear the word, but you must act on it. God's scale of accountability doesn't waver based on our recognition. If you sidestep responsibility, God, in His wisdom, will steer you through a humbling journey. The intent is to bring you to a point where you can genuinely acknowledge and be responsible. We cannot deceive God. While we might cleverly manipulate human perceptions, God sees the heart's core. His intention to correct us is not out of wrath, but out of sheer love. So, instead of resentment, let's don the cloak of acceptance. One of the glaring challenges in the church today is the selective adoption of faith. Many profess their Christianity, wearing it like a badge of honor, but in reality, they cherry-pick the tenets they wish to follow. They crave respect, aspire for spiritual ranks, but flinch at reprimands. An authentic Christian heart yearns for enlightenment, even if it means confronting uncomfortable truths. A profound relationship with God demands integrity, commitment, and the humility to accept corrections. Only by embracing every facet of Christianity can one truly ascend in their spiritual journey. In life, God's threads are meticulously interwoven, and our choices, while seemingly our own, often intersect with His grand design. This divinely architected journey has its share of mountains and valleys, joy and sorrow, growth and stagnation. Still, when the path feels uncertain, one principle remains infallible: God's unerring love. When pondering over the biblical accounts of figures such as Moses, Abraham, or Esther, we observe not just their triumphs, but their tribulations too. They too faced moments of self-doubt, resistance, and evasion from God's commands. But it was in these challenging crucibles that their true characters were revealed and refined. Many today, in the age of instant gratification, seek the glory without the grind, the crown without the cross. When the journey with God demands sacrifice, discipline, or the shattering of one's ego, the temptation to defect and follow paths of least resistance becomes immense. But the Bible cautions against spiritual complacency. In Revelation chapter 3, verse 16, God warns about the lukewarm, those neither hot nor cold, and the consequence of being spat out. The allure of modern-day idols, be it fame, validation on digital platforms, or the incessant chase for worldly pleasures, can often derail us from our spiritual journey. Like the Israelites, who despite witnessing God's miracles, were swayed by the golden calf, we too might find ourselves entranced by today's golden calves. Yet the Bible beckons us to a higher call, reminding us of Matthew chapter 16, verse 26. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Instead of external validation, we are invited to seek God's approval. As we navigate the intricacies of our faith, let's remember that God isn't seeking perfection, but progression. He knows our frailties and yet loves us relentlessly. So, in moments of faltering faith, let's return to the basics, reminding ourselves that in God's kingdom, the way up is often down, in humility, surrender, and unwavering trust. For in this vulnerability, we don't just find God, but we discover our truest selves, like the video and type Amen if you believe. Please support our ministry by clicking the thanks button, and please consider joining us as a cherished member. Your generosity uplifts our mission. God bless you.